I love
Come
that.
in, everyone.
Hello.
How's it going? Hi, Gloria. He's Stacy, Elena from your lovely new apartment. Bryce. Hey, Jenny. We're gonna let some more folks trickle in, but yeah, welcome to our November Mindful Poetry Moments virtual gathering, guys. Oh, and I'm realizing that both Stacy and Bryce are in the office space facing each other, but not together.
I'm worried if we both unmute that we'll do that like sound thing. So hi, everybody. We're excited to be here.
Where's everybody calling in from? I know we have Cincinnati here. We got some West Coast. We have some across the pond. Jenny's from Portland. Bryce is in a Van Gogh painting.
Lovely.
A Jen from
Oakland,
Tacoma.
Oakland, California.
Wonderful. Let Wade in. Well, as folks trickle in, I'll just sort of introduce the program for anybody that's unfamiliar. Um, This is our second Mindful Poetry virtual gathering of our quote off season, which is fall and winter. And it's in anticipation of National Poetry Month, which takes place in April in the United States. I'm Patrick. I manage Mindful Poetry Moments for the Well. And this is a quick rundown of the program. We've been doing mindful poetry for about 6 years now. And it provides students and poetry lovers of all ages a mindful approach to poetry via the guidance of a wide group of collaborators, poets, community leaders, practitioners, Mervyn and Sheila included today, who are facilitators. And the concept for this hour is pretty simple. It is we begin with a mindfulness activity, a meditation, or some kind of breathing exercise, something of the like. We read a poem, we talk about the poem, we write, and then we share. And this all takes place within the lovely container of 1 hour. Um, and, uh, and during National Poetry Month, the work that you write during these sessions actually is eligible to be submitted for publication in our annual anthology. Yeah, so just so everybody knows, we record all of these sessions for folks that are unable to attend, and we publish that on our YouTube channel. So if you don't want to be included in the recorded version of this, please let me know, send a follow-up email, and we can edit you out of the video. And you're only included in the video if you speak, if you unmute yourself and speak. So yeah, with that being said, I want to introduce our mindfulness facilitator for today, a familiar face for our mindful poetry community. Sheila McMullin is a poet, editor, and community gardener writing at the intersection of mixed race identity, infertility, and generational and environmental care. She is the author of Daughter Terrarium from CSU Poetry Center, a proud co-editor of Humans of Blue and The Day Tajon Got Shot, both written by teen authors and published by Shoutmouse Press, and co-editor of the forthcoming Comics and Community Anthology from Penn State University Press. She teaches nature writing classes with the LA County Department of Parks and Rec, holds her MFA from George Mason, serves on the board of the Contemporary Irish Arts Center of LA, and is a UCCE Master Gardener. So, without further ado, I will hand it off to Sheila.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. It's so beautiful to see all of you and to be in this space time together. This is debutante. She'll be our meditation facilitator assistant. If you have one of your own, I do recommend grabbing them and settling in. So we'll do a visualization meditation today. So I welcome you in whichever ways feel most comfortable to maybe we can actually just take a moment. I know we're all transitioning from something else, so we can kind of take a moment just to like stretch, just kind of get any like wiggles out if you need to, kind of just adjust, letting your back kind of stretch for a moment, being in our bodies. And then when you feel ready, can settle into your seat, feet on the ground if that feels accessible to you. I'm actually going to sit cross-legged because that feels best to me right now. Palms resting gently in your lap or on your desk, on the arms of your chair. If you'd like to, you can close your eyes or look just a little bit in front of you with your gaze just softening. And then let's just take in a breath together. You can take in a breath in through our nose. And then you can release it with a sigh. Feeling your shoulders relaxing as you do that. And take another breath in through our nose. Once you reach the top of that breath, holding and then releasing with a sigh. Doing one more in through the nose. Holding when you get to the top of that breath for a moment. Releasing with a sigh, letting your shoulders drop. As you start to feel settled, easing your breath to a natural pace, feeling the gentle tapping of your heartbeat. I welcome you to breathe in to your spine like a tree. Taking a deep breath in, feeling your spine grow tall, feeling your spine rooted, the shape of your spine holding your body in loving care. Feel at the base of your spine a taproot, your core root, life-sustaining root. Breathe into your taproot and imagine this root deep into the ground. Imagine your taproot just through the floor beneath you, through any concrete, through the ground, any native soil. Imagine your taproot rooting, digging down deeper, deeper into the earth. Imagine your taproot all the way into the center of the universe, the center of our universe, wrapping around the core energy there. Imagine breathing in through this source energy, breathing in through your taproot, this source energy up into your body, feeling connected to all that is beneath you. All that has come before you. Breathing up through this taproot, your breath going up through your spine. Now imagine the breath going up through the top of your head. Imagine branches growing tall. Your breath helping these branches spread across the sky. Beyond the clouds. Breathing up these branches, reaching toward our star, the sun. The leaves of your branches, breathing in that light, that generous, life-giving light. Breathe that in through your leaves. Breathe that in through your branches, bringing that down into your body. Being connected to the source energy from above, connected to inspiration. Feeling that come down into your body. Taking another deep breath in through our leaves, through our branches, feeling that starlight come back down, down through the clouds, through the sky above us, closer to the roof above our heads, feeling our branches coming back closer to our body, but still feeling that sun energy, breathing that into our heart center, letting it rest there. Imagining our tap root connected to the source energy at the center of the universe, bringing that back up through the earth below us, back up into the room we're in, bringing that source energy up into our bodies, breathing it into our heart center and letting it rest there. Knowing you have both earth and sky in you, that you are earth and sky made manifest and a gift to this day. When you're ready, you can rub your hands together, bringing sensation back into your body. Maybe massaging your face, as Stacy teaches us, bringing warmth from the energy of your hands to your face and massaging your way back into the room, fluttering your eyes open when you are ready, looking around and greeting the space, ready for poetry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheila. I love this idea of like grounding yourself omnidirectionally. I think that's earth and sky, you know. Yeah, thanks again. Okay, now I want to introduce our poetry facilitator for today. Today we are Mervyn is going to be our poetry facilitator. Mervyn Seivwright writes to balance social consciousness and poetry craft for humane growth. He is a nomad from a Jamaican family born in London, England, and left for America at age 10, now residing in Kaiserslautern, Germany. Performance poetry highlights include events in 9 countries featuring the Jazz Cafe and finalists at the first UK's Word for Word National Poetry Slam. He is a Spalding University MFA alum and has appeared in Agni, American Journal of Poetry, Salamander Magazine, African American Review, Poetry Online, and 84 other journals across 13 countries. He's the Caribbean Writer 2024 Marvin E. Williams Literary Prize winner, the Poetry International 2023 CP Cavafy Prize finalist, the winner of numerous other awards, and his collection Stick, Hook, and a Pile of Yarn is available through Broken Sleep Books. So without further ado, I'll hand it off to Mervyn.
Thank you. Thank you. So before I go into the poem, I just want to set the kind of pace. I fell in love with this group. There were similarities from a group I meet with out of London. And it's more about the feeling and emotions that you get. So before I read this poem, kind of set yourself for, what kind of sensory feelings do you get? What is your first feelings, your thoughts, what reaches deeper within you from the things you hear? This is not looking at it from an academia point. It's really falling in touch with the poem, right? And how does that really reach you internally and throughout? So without further ado, Mary Oliver's poem, Sometimes. Yeah. So if you want to show the poem first. Okay. 1. Something came up out of the dark. It wasn't anything I had seen before. It wasn't an animal or a flower, unless it was both. Something came up out of the water. A head the size of a cat, but muddy and without ears. I don't know what God is. I don't know what death is. But I believe they have between them some fervent and necessary arrangement. 2. Sometimes melancholy leaves me breathless. 3. Later, I was in a field full of sunflowers. I was feeling the head of midsummer. I was thinking of the sweet electric drowse of creation when it began to break. In the west, clouds gathered, thunderheads. In an hour, the sky was filled with them. In an hour, the sky was filled with the sweetness of rain and the blast of lightning, followed by the deep bells of thunder. Water from the heavens, electricity from the source, both of them mad to create something. The lightning brighter than any flower, the thunder without a drowsy bone in its bodies. 4. Instructions for living a life. Pay attention. Be astonished. Tell about it. 5. 2 or 3 times in my life I discovered love. Each time it seemed to solve everything. Each time it solved a great many things, but not everything, yet left me as grateful as if I had indeed and thoroughly solved everything. 6. God, rest in my heart and fortify me. Take away my hunger for answers. Let the hours play upon my body like the hands of my beloved. Let the cat head appear again, the smallest of your mystery. Some wild cousin of my own blood, probably. Some cousin of my own wild blood, probably, in the black dinner bowl of the pond. 7. Death waits for me. I know it, around one corner or another. It doesn't amuse me, neither does it frighten me. After the rain, I went back into the field of sunflowers. It was cool, and I was anything but drowsy. I walked slowly and listened to the crazy roots and the drenched earth laughing and growing. So after that, let's take a little bit of time and tell me what you like. What kind of senses are you feeling from this poem? What's kind of pulling you? Anyone? If you want to raise your hand, make it easier for us to. Lynette.
I feel, aside from feeling the rain and the storm all around me and feeling very woken up by that, I feel the word that stuck with me was astonished. And my mind started thinking, when am I astonished? Not often enough. Like I started thinking about when I feel amazed by things. But yeah, the storm, the lightning and the sounds of the thunder and the wetness and the crazy roots. And yeah, it made me feel very alive. And you did a great reading of it. Thank you.
No, that's an amazing observation. It's like every time I read the poem, there's something new or something different. There's different threads within this poem. So, um, comments by anyone else? Let's see, Jenny.
The let the cat head appear again was such a relief to me. There's so much repetition and numbers and things happening, and I felt like I was just drifting along this like drifting and like not tethered to anything. And then let the cat head appear again just felt like such a thing of age, like just a comfort of knowing things can happen more than once. And it was just I just love that line so much because I kept waiting for that to understand what that mystery was because we still don't know what that was, and then just to have that mystery pop up again. Anyway, I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you. I think when we see those kind of things that are repetitious, they kind of, we come into a space, but it kind of helps bring security in that space, if that makes sense to any of you. Stacy?
Beautiful, beautiful introduction, beautiful reading. I really admired the wildness of it. The word fervent, the hunger, the kind of madness of nature, the exciting madness, and then the placing the word wild in two places, some wild cousin of my own blood,
Yes.
probably some cousin of my own wild blood, probably. It was kind of, I think what Jenny was also saying is that there's something unsettling about it. A little with the emergence of this dark head, but it was exciting and mysterious.
So I almost get from what you're saying, like, the craziness and the mysterious, there's also a freeing in that looseness that,
Mhm.
you in the way that this moves, because it's not like this one set subject, right? So it takes you in these different spaces, but then reminds you in repetition back in those different spaces. And so what seems wild is still like freeing at the same time, you know? Um, anyone else? Yes, Wade.
Yeah, the something to it of not being the center of it. Like there's a funny thing where like this is all happening. There's not like the perspective is not the most important position in the poem. Like there's all these other forces and she's just with them, but I don't know. There's something about being like apart together alone or apartness together. Like it's real, even the play with the form, though. Kind of interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, anyone questions with the fourth stanza, right? Because of how that kind of sticks in the middle of this, right? Where, instructions for living and it's giving you advice, right? So it kind of places you in a different space in the poem. And did anybody catch there? Is there any feelings or thoughts about that? No, no. Yes, I see Amy. Oh, you're mute, please.
It did seem like a break in the flow of the sensations and the senses, that it was like a little lecture in there, a little sermon in there to me.
Okay, Patrick.
I guess kind of going off what Amy said, and also a comment that Wade had mentioned, but there is something kind of like shamanic about it. You know, Mary Oliver serving as a guide for like bringing us into this natural imagery.
Right.
But specifically like, you know, like shamanic and not like a professor or anything like that, because as we've mentioned, like there's such a wildness to what Mary Oliver is showing us. You know, like lightning that is brighter than any flower. Like this is like awe-inspiring stuff. And like awe-inspiring in like the biblical sense, you know, like it's beyond our understanding as humans, even though we too are a part of nature. So yeah, the shamanic aspect and that being in the very middle, I really love too. A reminder.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to see some of the comments. Um, because even in that, it's just like, you know, we always say the cliche thing is like stop and smell the flowers, right? But how much of us really take the time to kind of look at the details around us? I'm a little funny because like I have these apps on my phone for nature to tell me what the tree is, what kind of bird based on bird sounds. I'm trying to get the details and the background meanings and the historical meanings and stuff like that when I go into nature. So, and it's like you want to share that. And she like in the middle of the poem is like, look, this is what I'm experiencing, right? You know, you're allowed to be astonished by this, you know, simple thing called life, right? So it's just kind of different in that way. Um, we got maybe time for maybe two more quick comments before we go into the writing exercise. So anybody else?
I think Lana wants to share.
Yeah, I just thought it seemed like the shape of the poem to me was like these three kind of things. There was this experience that happened in the first three sections, and a feeling that came over the poet in the midst of this experience and this questioning of the experience. And then in the fourth, fifth, and sixth sections, there was kind of like these, I don't know, these kind of epiphanies and memories that came in through the experience. And then in the last section, section 7, it's kind of like, you know, the amalgamation, the culmination of all this questioning and experience and wondering and memory and sensation. And just kind of returning back to a place of experience and feeling the earth. So to me, it had kind of a wonderful roundness to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Just want to make sure we don't miss anything in the comments. Center. Sermon. Who can hear the roots laughing? That's beautiful. And especially like, you know, Sheila's exercise at the start where she's having us tap into our what grounds us from atop and our roots from above. So that kind of really connected to that space. Yes. Okay. So the prompt I'm going to use for you, and I'm going to place this in the chat also. It's use sensory details of nature and or even, you know, as a metaphor to kind of find and question self-reflection based on a sometimes feeling, something that has like passed you that you've kind of felt and you kind of question. In this poem, there was examples of like God and death, or like love solving everything but nothing, or the turn of phrase, you know, that was used for the cousin. Um, Death amusing or frightening. So these were just examples like that you kind of saw in her work that kind of provided that to you. So um, see what you can find within our writing time, which is about 10 minutes. And just kind of go from that space. Are there any questions before we start based on the prompt? Okay. All right. Okay.
I'll keep a
You may
timer
begin.
starting now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, hopefully everybody should be wrapping up. And want to see who would like to share first from what they took from the prompt, what they were moved to write. Okay, go ahead, Wade. We're ready to listen.
Right. My sneakers are wet. They suffice, white toe caps just pushing into the edge of the sky. The clouds race through said sky reflected in the giant puddle. A fortune in water 1 inch deep materialized overnight, almost blinding in the morning sun. I fall further behind. I'm told not to do it, and I have believed. Yet this morning I stand at the shore of the sea put here for me by the Lord himself. The pool is perfectly still. I am beckoned by its siren song, come closer, come in. To this moment I have believed. Untested, I assumed myself a bastion, my will conqueror as the Christ, and yet here is the sea. It is mine. My friends now halfway to school and dry and righteous, while I find myself poised to jump.
Wow. I push sensory writing because I love it so much. Um, I'm a big also Pablo Neruda fan. Um, so it's just when you can hear the sounds, you can see the colors, right? In just 10 minutes, right? You it's kind of bringing all those things together. Wade, thank you so much for sharing. I have Lynette that has her hand up next.
Be astonished. Isn't that the goal? To return to the dazzlement of childhood, our mouths agape, our hands outstretched. Isn't this why I look every night for the moon? Take my inadequate photos of it, shining or hanging low or peeking from behind wisps of cloud. Send them to my daughter so she can share my amazement, so we can imagine our love beaming up, shot from us like Care Bear love, then flowing back to one another and to her brother who waits on the moon's dark side. I love a good storm, a lightning flash or thunder crash that makes me jump, a foot of snow dumped at my door, trapping me inside, making me aware of how tiny I am in the majesty of this world. Thank you for that great prompt.
Thank you for that great poem. Um,
Yeah.
how many times do we, you know, especially we can go through our children, but how many times do we actually go through our own childhood, right? You know, and it's not around the parents, it's not around anyone else. It's when we're in those spaces by ourselves and we're just in that space and we're just taking on things like we're against the universe or we're with it. So you can kind of feel a lot of that in that poem. Stacy.
Kristen didn't have a strong affinity to nature or mystery. We looked up symbols for transformation and discovered dragonflies. So Lauren painted it on Kristen's arm, an extremely temporary tattoo, it turns out. A month later, a ceramic urn with Kristen's ashes featured a dragonfly. They seek me out now. I assume it's Kristen, of course, and try to discern why she would be dive bombing me with such enthusiasm. Usually, I take it as a sign to text her son, now grown. One time he asked back, "Do you see her in me?" The dragonflies, all of them everywhere, choreographed an ecstatic dance.
the metaphor of that and the realness of it, and that combination in itself, it was powerful. It hit me really hard. Thank you for sharing, Stacey. Jenny?
Right. Oh, wait. The leaving is set with the sun. They take flight together in V shapes, clouds of smoke, or pockmarked sky. I feel the freedom of air, pathways filled with no barriers, other than the weather or wind. I dream sometimes that I can fly, but it's not as graceful as a bird, the need, jump, faithful wing, flight, push to the sky. Mine is a run, sidewalk under my feet, never grass, that would root me to the ground. On city streets I run and the hover above the ground alone. These evening geese, fancy swifts, and loud crows go together. I root for them to make it to their destination. Like a football fan, I cry out, "Good night, friends."
Like you can sonically hear it, you feel it, you see it, and again, I'm happy with the prompt because of what's coming out. Um, thank you, Jenny, for sharing that. Yeah, it is okay. I'm trying to keep my comments down to low, but it's hard because I love what's coming out. Sheila.
I love what's coming out too. I don't know what God is. I don't know what death is, but I know how to be kind. I know how to applaud you when you act strong but feel weak. I know how to take up the space that would require too much of you so you can rest. I know how to be unkind too, how to not let you finish a sentence so I can keep telling you how wrong you are, how to notice you are trying but not say anything. I know this will come back to hurt me. I know it is a crack in the terracotta pot. I know my body will come laughing back at me, my mind wondering why I am alone, why you don't trust me, why you're keeping your distance. After the terracotta pot broke, I sat on the concrete next to the soil for a long time, watching it dry out, watching an earthworm search for a dark, cool place to root. I watched and did nothing. The clouds shifted from heavy to seashells. The light moved from blue to lemonade to lavender to dark, but not dark enough to see the stars burned out by city lights. Eventually, I stood up. I tried to find grass.
Have me tearing up. I believe poetry of self-reflection brings growth. And when we can find the things around us to paint what that looks like, it makes that growth more worthwhile, if that makes sense. And I'm sorry, I'm using a very small laptop. I have big screens next to me, and that's why I keep on going close. Sorry. But Anne, please.
The trees on my street are finally showing off. Orange, gold, red, from coral to brown, glinting. My hair is falling out. I did not know this was a symptom of menopause, but it makes sense. My hairline mimicking some monk in the margin of a manuscript. The pages embellished with vivid color, our eye drawn to these lines, not the curve of my hip or your throat. The leaves shower us with a new blast of color, and then the view from my window expands.
I'm glad somebody typed that one line, the monk in the margin of a manuscript. My goodness, right? I mean, there's alliteration and then there's deep meaning, right? And just even how the colors would, because silver also kind of tied off from that. So you just see this other color now, like a thread pull that along. So, oh, thank you, thank you. MS.
Um, I didn't have a title for this. Once in my life, I found a marriage. We splashed droplets of the Hudson River on each other while kayaking near Cold Spring. We felt cherry blossoms gently caressing our faces as they fell outside the Central Park Reservoir. We admired fireflies in the unmowed grass in the garden outside our apartment, sitting on a bench on our anniversaries. Death will come for us soon enough, a stronger separation than our pending divorce. He wants to see me again in his paradise, but I'm not a believer, and he cries that I won't be there, that our relationship will always be over.
Whoa. Mm.
Self-reflection in life, and the things that kind of tie us. Fireflies showed up again. Um, it's just, and I think it's because like the colors are always so brilliant and different, and depending on the colors of even, you know, how we see nature, they're quick to reflect the tone in which we're trying to cover those emotions. And in this, in many of them, they're going from these bright to dull to bright, and so you just, you know, some of it's taking on the wildness of what we even saw within the Sometime poem that I really admire a lot. So, just make sure time wise, we got 2 more minutes. So, um, Elena.
Hello. Mervyn, thank you so much for this poem. I have to say your joy emanates through my computer screen. I can really, I mean, I see it. I don't know if that makes sense. But I'm not very good at following prompts, but I did my best. So I took a line from Mary's poem and titled it, The Sweetness of Rain. My mother loved the rain. She has passed almost a lifetime ago. Every time the skies darken, or even in sun showers, I think of her. Her chestnut hair on the pillow beside me, a mountainous arm in slumber, like a fort of love protecting this 4-year-old self. Our walks in the city always involved shopping and food. The Woolworth counter, the ubiquitous hamburger and fries, before McDonald's, before the impersonal encounter of a drive-through. I loved her like a lamb, like a playful puppy splashing in a puddle. My joy was her joy, her sorrows, my sorrows. It is raining today, and my hot face cooled by this lonely window pane. Thank you.
That was the prompt. So,
I'm a
because the
city
thing is,
girl. I'm not a nature girl.
so yeah, but the thing is, I mean, even the rain, right? It's even those basic elements around us, and even in your description of, you know, the sunny to the rain, still was kind of tying into that tone and the reflection of yourself of how things were back when. Um, it's there's so much that we can pull in that is already there in front of us that kind of allows us to find our space in words and feelings and emotions. Um, so that brings us to the end of our reading session. Thank you for the comment about, because for me it's good evening, for y'all it's good afternoon, because it's coming up on 10 o'clock for me, and I start my day pretty early. So I'm trying to put as much energy. Well, I love poetry though, so that's been my whole life. And so, do I have someone that wants to read this poem and close us out? Any volunteers? Elena, go ahead and close us out.
Unless somebody else wants to, because I read a lot. Okay. Oh, thank you, Patrick. Except I can't see it. I'll use my cell phone. Sometimes, by Mary Oliver. 1. Something came up out of the dark. It wasn't anything I had ever seen before. It wasn't an animal or a flower, unless it was both. Something came up out of the water, a head the size of a cat, but muddy and without ears. I don't know what God is. I don't know what death is, but I believe they have between them some fervent and necessary arrangement. 2. Sometimes melancholy leaves me breathless. 3. Later, I was in a field full of sunflowers. I was feeling the head of midsummer. I was thinking of the sweet, electric drowse of creation when it began to break. In the west, clouds gathered, thunderheads. In an hour, the sky was filled with them. In an hour, the sky was filled with the sweetness of rain and the blast of lightning, followed by the deep bells of thunder. Water from the heavens, electricity from the source, both of them mad to create something. The lightning brighter than any flower, the thunder without a drowsy bone in its body. 4. Instructions for living a life. Pay attention. Be astonished. Tell about it. 5. 2 or 3 times in my life, I discovered love. Each time it seemed to solve everything. Each time it solved a great many things, but not everything, yet left me as grateful as if it had indeed and thoroughly solved everything. 6. God, rest in my heart and fortify me. Take away my hunger for answers. Let the hours play upon my body like the hands of my beloved. Let the cat head appear again, the smallest of your mysteries, some wild cousin of my own blood, probably some cousin of my own wild blood, probably in the black dinner bowl of the pond. 7. Death waits for me. I know it around one corner or another. And this doesn't amuse me, neither does it frighten me. After the rain, I went back into the field of sunflowers. It was cool, and I was anything but drowsy. I walked slowly and listened to the crazy roots in the drenched earth laughing and growing. Sometimes by Mary Oliver.
Thank you so much.
That was long.
Thank you for doing that reading, Elena. And thank you so much to our facilitators, Sheila and Mervyn, especially being a first-time facilitator. I think Mervyn, your poetry has, and I mean this in the best way, such a raw intensity that allows you to access, I think, themes of like grief and pain very well. But I think from this session, it's really nice to know that it both goes deep within and deeply out to others with your facilitation and really just bringing this such amazing poetry out of other people as well. So thank you, Mervyn. And thank you everybody for coming today. Um, if you would like to be edited out of this recording, please let me know. Send me an email. We're going to be taking a break from virtual gatherings next month, but we will be returning in 2026, January 21st from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned. And if you're interested in taking a course about poetics, Manuel Iris, who is our 2024 Mindful Poetry Curator, will be doing another workshop from January 11th to February 14th in the evenings from 6:30 to 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Build your own personal poetics. We're all poets here, and anybody, beginner to expert, can stand to learn something about yourself and your own art. So yeah, thank you for sticking around. Hope to see you guys soon in whatever capacity.
Well,
Thank you.
Have a good night or afternoon, everyone.